What's up, icons? It's the iconic fashion figure back with a new video. So as I promised, I'm doing a video today to let you guys sit with me as I go through a design through Illustrator, which is the software I normally would use to create my designs. In the last video, I mentioned that Illustrator is now requiring you to pay this monthly, or I should say Adobe, that's the parent company, is requiring you to pay this monthly fee in order to use the programs. And I was saying I'm not paying that, it's way too much. The software I bought before, it was one flat fee, and I've used it for the last 10 years. Now, because I have a new Mac and Apple decided to do these updates where I can't even use the old software in my new computer, I did go ahead and purchase the new software. But let me just be honest with you, I ended up doing the student rates. They don't know if I'm a student or not. It didn't require any proof. So I did the student rates, and for the student rates, it was $19.99 a month for the first year, and then I think it jumps up to $29.99 a month. But for the first year, it's like $240, which might sound like a lot to some of you, but it's actually a really good investment, especially if you're going to be serious about creating your own design. They do have a free trial, so you can try it out and see if you like it. Give it a test run and see if it's something that works for you before you actually pay for it. Just keep in mind, they do make you put in a credit card that will automatically be charged after the 7-day trial. So if you don't like it and you don't want to pay for it, make sure you go and cancel out the subscription. But otherwise, I'm going to jump into creating these designs. I also have something else for you guys towards the end of the video that you can use on the go. But let's get into the design so that way you guys can see how I work it. I try to go into as much detail as possible, but it may not be those very beginning steps that you may not be aware of. That's something I would have to do in a separate video if this is something you guys really want to use to create your designs. And hopefully my parents are watching so they can see all that money we spent on my degree is now paying off. I chose this design just because designs like this, especially when it comes to like a denim design or designs with a lot of trim or a lot of seams on it, it always seems like it's harder to sketch, but this is actually a really easy sketch to make. So I specifically chose this so I can show you guys the different seams and the trims and the hardware that's on this design and how easy it is to make. This is an old design of mine. I didn't end up creating something completely new just because I'm not feeling creative right now. So we're going to take one of my old designs from fall of 2018. I'm going to completely take it apart and then I'll put it back together just so you guys can see how it's done. So here's the design with all the color options I did plus a print that I did. These were my colors from then. I just basically copy and paste my color board here when it came to the point of adding colors, so that way I can decide what colors I liked in this design. Like I would literally go and click each color to see if I like it or not. And then over here, which this part we don't really need to talk about right now because this is really for tech packs, but I'll just tell you guys really quick since it's on the screen. So these are the same exact sketches, just in black and white. The first portion right here is just to show like the tag displays, where they're supposed to place that, and you know how I want it placed. You have to tell them this stuff because otherwise it won't get done. Normally for a set I would only put one hang tag, but at that time I was considering to sell these separately, but then they ended up being sold together and I only did one tag. And then this next section here is to show how to fold it. Again, that's another thing you have to tell them in your tech pack, because if you don't tell them, they will do it any kind of way. You may end up getting wrinkled garments, or you'll pay more in shipping because you want things to pack as flat as possible to save you money on shipping. And then here you just have the different specs. But let's get into the design. I'm going to completely pull this apart. We're going to start on a blank canvas and I'm going to show you how to create your sketch. Now we're on to the blank canvas, and this is where I'm going to basically recreate what's right here. For those of you that don't already have a design created and you need some type of guidance, you can either use a silhouette, which you can just get off Google and then paste it into here, or you can have your inspiration image off to the side, just like how I have this design here. You can just put your picture there off to the side so you can draw it. So what I'm going to start with is the pen tool and literally just start drawing this out. Now when I draw this out, I'm only going to create half of this top, and I'll show you why in a moment. Okay, so I got half of the top already there. It's not exact like this one, but close enough so that way we can get this done. So what I'm gonna do is select that half that I created. Up at the top there's a menu. You guys just can't see it on my screen record, but there is a menu where I will go to object transform and I want to reflect it because now we need the other side. The reason I do that is so that they're symmetrical. Like on this one, you can probably tell that I didn't mirror this because they're slightly different. This one has a little bit of a curve and this one's straight. But in order to avoid that and have it identical, you can just make a copy of that. You want it so it is overlapping just a tad bit, and we're going to select both of those and unite them. So now I have the top. Now the difference between this one and this one, this bottom has a little curve, mine is straight. So we're going to use the direct selection tool, and there's a little point in the middle here. Actually I have two for some reason. Let me fix that first and delete one of those. Go back to the pen tool and close this up. Alright, now I'm back to direct selection. I'm going to move this anchor over to the center, and then I'm going to drag it down a bit. And then you can convert this so that it has a curve. So you just want to play around with it until you get the right curve. That's good enough. And then while we're still on the direct selection, this line here, which resembles, you know, the waistband of the bottom of the top, you'll select that same pinpoint and then copy and paste. So it'll give you that same exact curve, and then you just find out the placement where you want to add it. You also want to take off the fill because when we add the color to it, you don't want there to be white overlap. So far we already have the top, and it only took us like a minute to do it. Now as far as the top part where there's that waistband, I'll just leave those anchors. Select both of these anchors since there's two, and then copy and paste again. Now as far as the pocket, we're going to use the pen tool again and just draw that out. So you want a straight line first. You can use the shift and it'll automatically make it straight, and then there's a curve. I'm only going to do half again just so it can be symmetrical, and then straight up and close it out. So then we'll repeat exactly what we did with the top. Now ignore the fact that the pocket looks huge. It almost looks the same size as the top, but we're going to resize it to what we need. We're also going to use that same pocket for all the other ones because as you can see, they're pretty much the same shape, and you can alter it how you need to. Okay, so let's resize this. Let me actually put it on the center so I can see how big I want it. That's actually probably about perfect. And then for the stitching inside, because you want to show where stitching's at, you technically don't have to do that, but it makes it look a little more realistic. Like you may notice like some of my areas put all the proper stitching. It's just so that the sketch looks more realistic. So we're going direct selection. We want to select all the points except for these top ones and copy and paste that. It did more than we need, so just delete those points. And then we need to make this the dotted line. So I'm going to go over to stroke while that is already selected. And then you want to do dash line. And then this point, because right now you can see the dashes are big. If you want them smaller, you just change the points on there. Let's do like 2. See how that's too small. So let's go like 5. So I changed the stroke to a 5-point dash line, and then the weight I did half a point because I don't want the lines as bold as like the outline of the garment. So you want to bring this in the center, but we need to resize it to fit into the center. We just need to create these rectangles for the straps and then the hardware on there and add the zipper. So the rectangle's easy because there's already a shape tool on here. So you can just kind of eyeball this on how wide you want it, how long you want it. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as it looks like what you need. And then this one, I angled it a bit because those front straps are usually not straight. I need to change the stroke back to match the outside of the garment. And then we want to reflect that as well to have 2. Now for the hardware on here, you can either draw it out just like how I have it, or you can just use the ellipse tool and use it. It's not as, the shape's not exactly the same as mine, but it's a little easier to do. So I'm just going to use that for now. And you're going to need 2 of these. So that will be the outside one. I need to make this one a little smaller. And we're going to put this in the center. So I select both of the circles, and you want to go to Pathfinder and take out that center part of it. So click to minus front, and now you notice the path is only on the outside. There's nothing in the middle. So now we need to resize this to the size that we need. And then just, alter it to how you want it to be placed on your garment. Probably should have done that shape, but whatever, is already done. So let's reflect this one too. Make a copy, and we'll send this one to the other side. Now for this other hardware piece, I believe I hand drew this one, like I did a free draw on that because it's definitely not perfect. So you can free draw this, or I'm trying to think of another way you might be able to do it, an easier way. Okay, so that didn't work out quite how I wanted it to, so let me just free draw it really quick. I think that'll be the easiest way to go. And then I'm going to reflect that and unite again. Now we want to make a copy of that, and we need to make it a little smaller because it's going on the inside. So this is not the perfect shape. Let me fix it up a little more, but you can play around with it to fix up the shape of how you want it to be. So now I need to resize this and get it into place. Alright, that should be good. Didn't mean to do that. And then we need to reflect and make another one for the other side. And then we need to make the little circle piece, which is like the snap, to go on the bottom. That's actually like a good size. And let's make a copy for this one. Let me say before it freezes up on me, this used to happen to me in college all the time. You would think I would have learned my lesson by now. Nothing's more frustrating than when you created this entire design and it just crashes on you and you have to start all over. So okay, back to this. We're going to make a copy of that circle for the other side. And then we just need to do the zipper and we're done. Now for the zipper, as you guys can see here, I already have a zipper there. The easiest way to do a zipper is to create a brush, and basically all you're going to do is apply it to a line. Now I already have the brush created. I'm going to have to see if there's a way I can create some kind of PDF and link it in the description box so you guys can do it. Otherwise you will have to free draw this and then create a new brush. But I'm going to show you why I use a brush for zippers because it's so much easier. So we're going to use the direct selection tool, and we want to select this path right here so that way the zipper can follow that path. So let's copy and paste that, and then we're going to just apply this brush to that and it creates the zipper. So I didn't have to sit here and draw all that out. So if I just draw it one time and then apply it, you can use that all the time for all your design. It saves you a lot of time. So now we need to just move this so it overlays, and then let's just reflect that so we have one for the other side. And now all I did, let me see if I can zoom in so you can see, is I just created like this casing around the zipper and then added a stitch. Actually, I used the other zipper. I used that one. Really, so that's a flaw in my design because I only used one side of the teeth for the zipper on the front, so I should have had it on the back as well. Or I should have used the full closed zipper like I have on there right now. And then that would have been showing that the zipper is not technically on the side, it's on the front. But for now, let me go back to here and we're going to add this casing. So I'll probably just use the line tool for that, or I'll draw it out. leave that, and then let's copy this line again, but we need to go back to our regular basic line, no fill, and we can connect those two. Now I just need to fix this point, and then I'm going to make a copy of that, and let's do the dashed line again so it's in stroke, and then I just need to change that to a half a point. Is that right? Yep. And then we'll move that here. And then I'm going to copy and paste all of that, or I'm going to reflect it all to the other side. So you have to select all three, reflect, and copy, and let's send this to the other side. The zipper I need to bring up a tad bit. So now the top is pretty much done. I mean, I put in these like gray lines because it gives the effect of like the creases, so you would just do it in like a light gray. You don't necessarily need that, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. But what I do from here is I group all of this just so nothing goes out of place. I don't have to worry about trying to fix it. But that's the top. And then for the bottom, we're going to start out again just how we did with the top and just free draw half of the skirt. And then let's go ahead and make our copy for the other side and then join them together so we can have a full skirt. Now I need to just make this wider so I can match the width of, you want the waist of the two to match. Probably not that wide though, because the top is a looser fit anyway. And then I just need to fix these points up here. So we're going to do just like how we did the top by duplicating these lines. Once I use the direct selection, just copy that path and use that line. There's more than one point, so copy all of these points and then move it. Let's take out that fill too. And then we need to do the same for the bottom. So direct selection, and we're going to select this bottom path. There's only one point there. Let's take out the fill, and we need to do our dotted line. And that's the stitching for the bottom. Now we just need to add a line down the center for the zipper. And we're going to change that to this brush. My line doesn't look straight to me for some reason, but I'm gonna leave it. These are a little big there, but I'm just gonna leave it. And then for the zipper pull, I just use a triangle, which is the polygon tool. Okay, so now with the polygon tool, you'll want to click and drag it out and then press the down arrow to change the number of sides, because we want 3 points on it so we can create the triangle. Let me change the stroke back. And then once I move it over, oh crap, gotta change back to the selection tool, and then I can move it over and size this how I want to. That looks like it's actually the main point. Now normally I would draw the lines to create the casing and stitching. On there I didn't, so I'm just going to do it the same exact way. We gotta do the belt loops, which is just a little rectangle. And then I just kind of curve it a bit just because the waist is slightly at a curve, and then resize it because I don't need it that big. And then let me zoom in because we're going to add the stitching inside the belt loop, which it looks like I missed it on that one, but on here you can see there's stitching. So what I'm going to do is just copy and paste this entire thing, make it the dotted line, make it a little smaller, and then move it inside. There we go. So zoom back out. I need to make that dot a little smaller. It looks too big. There we go. So let me group that so we can always keep it together, because we're going to use that a few different times. So we're going to reflect that. And I do 2 belt loops on the front, 1 on the back, or 3 on the back. I don't know, I'm talking about 1. This looks too big. And then the last thing for the front is the pockets, which, oh, let me ungroup this. And then I'll group that, and I'm going to copy and paste that so I can use that down here. Let me group all of this back together and then resize this. The front pocket I want a little smaller compared to that pocket on the front of the top, and then the pockets that are going on the back of the skirt also probably make it a little more narrow. And then just find your placement and then reflect it. So now the entire front of your garment is completely done. For the back, let's group all of this really quick so it stays together. We're going to copy and paste what we've done for the front, and we're going to start the back. So now with the back, you won't need this. Let's ungroup it. So you'll delete out the hardware because you won't need that on the back. The straps are attached directly to the garment. Delete the wrong thing. And then you won't need the pocket. You won't need the zipper since I fixed my zipper on this design and put the full zipper on the front. So the zipper is more so on the front of the garment than the side. And then we just need to straighten these out and move them to fit directly flush onto the top. And pretty much there's our back. Again, you can add those lines like I have to show the creases. You don't need to, but then we need to do the same here. So the zipper has to come out after I ungroup it. Actually, let me group that so it stays. The zipper coming out. The belt loop I will leave. The pockets I'll just move down and then we'll resize them in a moment. So I need to copy this and make one more belt loop. Now if you wanted to make this a little easier on you, you could have added the color to the front first and then copied all of this, so that way you don't have to add color to both front and back. The color would have already been on here. But since I already moved it, I'll just redo color. So the center belt loop I want to be a tad bit longer. This I'm going to angle it the other way a little more since it's the back now, not the front. You also want to move it out a bit since you have 3 instead of 2. And there's the belt loops for the back. Now the only other thing I need to add is this yoke for the back. So I'm just going to do that with the line tool. You can also use the pen to create this, but I'm just going to use the line. See, that's about the center. Create another line. And then I need to, actually I might move those down a bit. The yoke look a little small. And then you want to copy and paste both of these lines so we can do the dotted lines for the stitching. And then the last thing to do for the back, and we're almost done, is just, let me delete that pocket. We can resize this to make the bigger pockets for the back. However, whatever size you want it to be. I think I need to change this angle a bit. And then let's just make the copy. Once you get the sizing that you want, make the copy and reflect it to the other side. And then, so now your sketch is pretty much done, and the only thing you have to do is figure out your colors. So like I was showing you guys on this one, I had my color board because you want to create your colors before you create your designs. At least that's what I like to do. So I literally just copy and paste this onto whatever canvas I'm working on and then decide what color I want to use. Move over here. And then all you would do is, since I already have these grouped, I have to ungroup them. And you'll select the area that you want. Actually, where's the eyedropper? And pick a color. So whatever color you want to do. I think this color is that. No, it's not that one. That one there. But whatever color you choose, you would just add that on and go green. And all you have to do is go through, select every item, and add the right color. You just use the eyedropper to pick it up. Actually, be careful using the eyedropper. Actually, let me show you what it did. So when I use the eyedropper, it also picks up the stroke of the line, so it took away my dot. Eyedropper on everything doesn't work, on some things it does. I will only select, let me ungroup all of these so I can just do them at once. Only select the solid areas, and then we'll have to go into like the pockets that have the dotted line and change it for there. So I'm just gonna select like the skirt here, the top on there. I need to select those because those will be green, and then the skirt down here. Let's go to the eyedropper, make all of those green. Now for the pockets, you can just ungroup it now that you've made all the copies you need, and just select the pocket and change the color. Oh, what I need to do is take out the fill on that. I'm gonna have to do that in every one of them. And then we need to ungroup this pocket, ungroup that one, and I gotta just take the fill out of all of these dotted lines first, and then we'll add the color to the pocket. Oh, I didn't ungroup this. Okay, now let's select the pockets, and I drop the color in. And then the last thing we need to do is the color for our hardware. Now for the color gold, I believe I just googled the color code for gold, and that's how I ended up with the gold, because I don't have nothing on here, or I might have already had something where I used it. So what I'm going to do, so you can just Google color code for gold or try to find a color close to gold that you want, but since I already have it and this video is about to be too long already, I'm going to go ahead and just use the eyedropper to pick up the gold from here. If I get the color code, I'll put it in the description box so you guys can have it. But you'll want to add it to the hardware here, as well as this. And then all your zippers. You notice here I forgot to add the color on the zipper, but we'll add it zipper. There's something special I had to do about the zipper color. Yeah, see, the zipper is something special. It's not picking up the color, so I gotta figure out what I did there to add my gold. Okay, so I figured out what to do for the color on the zipper. So when you select the color, I already dropped it on there, so the colors are there. You'll know from here. You can see that. What you have to do is go to the options for the selected object under brushes, and you want to change this to hue shift and just click OK and add the color. But that's it for this design. This entire design is already done, and you guys see it's pretty easy. The hardest part of it is actually drawing the outline of it, but once you have your shape down that you want, these little pieces, all you have to do is use shape that they give you through here and create the rest of it. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I want to show you guys another option that you can use mobile. Now with Adobe, they've always had their apps for like Illustrator and Photoshop that you can use on your phone or tablet, but they were never that good. And when I was looking at a video that popped up when I opened Illustrator on my computer, they showed that they've definitely done a lot of updates to the app for the iPad. So I'm going to insert that clip really quick because it definitely looks like it'll be useful for those of you that are on the go or just don't have a computer to work from. Hopefully YouTube doesn't mark me for copyright for showing that ad, but that ad definitely made me start researching to buy my iPad and the pencil for the iPad, so that way I can do things on the go. And if the Photoshop app does what I need it to do, I'll also be using that, and I won't need to be in the computer as much, which will be nice. I can travel a lot more while still getting all my work done. But that's it for this video. I know I said I would do the other apps that I showed you in last week's video and create some designs there, so that way you guys can see in depth how that works, but this video became so long that I'll have to do those in separate videos. But if that's something you guys are interested in, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll also do the app so that way you guys can see me create designs in those apps. Thank you for watching.